But if you guys don't know who I am, my name is Josh Amundson. I'm 26 years old. Like I said, I've been doing this business full time for 6 years. And, you know, out of all the years of entrepreneurship, one of the things I learned is you really only want to take advice from someone that you perceive as a higher level leader than yourself. Right. That doesn't necessarily mean someone who has a higher level of income, right? It's someone that you perceive as a higher level leader than yourself. And, in this business, guys, I've learned a lot. I've had a lot of success in this industry. I've been a six-figure earner for about 3, 4 years now. And it's not too often that I find someone that I perceive as a higher level leader than myself. And that's just me being real. This individual who's going to be speaking on the call tonight is one of those people, 100%, right? I remember it was about 2 years ago, and one of my buddies was telling me, you got to meet this guy. You got to meet him. You got to meet this guy named Cory, right? And I was like, all right, I get told that all the time. All the time. I need to meet this person and this person, right? And I'm not against that. I like networking, but he was very adamant about it, right? And so, me and my business partner Jay Patnode, a lot of you know him. I decided to go out to Top Golf one time, and or it might have been downtown Minneapolis, but I met up with this individual, and I got there, and I was just like, all right, well, so I was told I needed to meet you. Like I had to meet you. There was a very important reason why I had to meet you, and guys, sitting there for 30 minutes, just 30 minutes with this individual. I already knew we were going to be lifelong friends. I already knew that this is someone that I look up to on a high level. The things that this individual has accomplished is unbelievable. Okay. So I want you to, kind of take it how I did. Every call that I'm on with this individual, I talk to him very frequently, right? I have a notebook out. I take notes. I'm writing down what this person's saying. I reached out to Cory with some of the other leaders, and I was like, man, dude, you made such a big impact on my life. You literally changed my life. I've started thinking differently, acting differently, having, bigger dreams, moving quicker because this individual. But when he gets on here, guys, the reason he agreed to it is because he wants to come on here and share the secrets with you that he learned on how to have massive success in a compressed amount of time. Okay. He's literally built teams of tens of thousands of people in several different companies, several different occasions, right? He's made millions of dollars from network marketing. He's a top 1% portfolio manager in the entire world, ladies and gentlemen, in the entire world, right? It's absolutely insane that, we get to get on a call and listen to this individual. Okay. So one thing I want to say, right? If you're not taking notes, you are going to forget 95% of the stuff you're learning on this call today. All right. 95% of what you're going to hear today, you will forget if you don't write it down. The goal of this call, ladies and gentlemen, is to take what he's willing to give us, right? He's here. He doesn't have to be here. This guy could have been retired himself 10 times over already, right? But he's on this call to share us information that will help us go faster. And I want you to take notes on it, because it's not about what you can learn or what you can do. It's about what you can teach, because what you can teach is duplicatable. And that's what every single one of us are after, guys. So listen, blow up the chat real quick, drop some fire emojis, some sevens, some ones, get some crazy things going in there. I want to see that chat blowing up right now, guys. I want to see your keyboards getting smashed. I want to see notebooks being held up. Turn your cameras on. Let's get fired up and welcome the man of the hour, Cory Kromray.
What is going on, buddy? Can you hear me okay? Just give me a thumbs up out there if you guys can hear me. Super excited to be here with you, man. After that introduction, I don't even know who you're introducing, man. I'm an average guy, you know what I mean? So, when Josh says all those things, it's humbling, but I'm an average guy, I'm just an average guy living northern Wisconsin. I just decided to dream big and go for it every single day of my life, right? I realized that any of the limitations that I had ever put on myself were really self-imposed, and that I could break through those walls at any time. I'm going to talk to you guys a lot about that tonight. A little background on me, just so you guys have an idea of who you're talking to. I am a 16-year-old high school dropout. I like to start off with that, right? I'm not a guy who went and got a Harvard degree or anything like that. I literally dropped out of high school when I was 16 years old. I got a bad car accident. I was in a coma. And I never went back to school. So as a 16-year-old high school dropout, obviously getting a job meant, working as a grunt construction laborer for 20, dollars every now and then, $10 an hour cash, when I could find work, washing dishes on the weekends for minimum wage, which was 7.25 an hour. And that was my life from, basically 16 to 21 years old, when I got introduced to the industry of direct sales network marketing. And it changed my life. The industry changed my life in so many ways. Not only did I become a millionaire in the industry, I was in the industry for 6 years, made just under $3 million. But I learned about leadership. I learned about business. I learned about, pushing through, my terror barrier, and learning that, any fear that I had for going after my dreams was really just, my own head getting in my way. And I took all the skills that I learned in network marketing, years of leadership development, years of building teams, in the 10,000s, in the 6,000. I never built a team less than 3,000 people. I've been with about 5 different companies. I've built teams of 16,000. I built teams of 9,000. I built a team of 6,500, and all in very compressed, short amount of times, right? The 16,000 person build was in 9 months. 10,000 person build I did in 18 months. That was my first $1 million that I made in the industry. My first company, it took me 3.5 years to get 3,500 people on my team. My second company, it took 90 days to have 3,500 people on my team because time was compressed, right? Every I think transition you go through, and every life experience that you go through, if you realize that there's nothing that can stop you from achieving anything that you want in your life but yourself, it's very important to know. A lot of people ask me all the time right now, why, as a successful trader, am I in network marketing? Very simple. I love the industry. The industry, literally, I can accredit it to every single thing that I've accomplished in my life. I learned leadership. I learned how to work with people. I learned business skills. I learned how to negotiate. I learned how to seek mentorship. I learned how to, be patient. I learned how to control my emotions. I learned all of these things from network marketing. So when I found trading, it was very easy for me to take all of those skills that I learned and transition them into learning a new skill, right? I believe network marketing, the skill of network marketing and building businesses in the direct sales industry, is one of the hardest industries in the world, but it's also the easiest industry in the world. Like, you don't have to go out and raise capital. You don't have to put, millions of dollars together, infrastructure. You don't have to take all of the risk, all the overhead, all the stress, all the headache, very low startup cost. And your capital to fund your business is unlimited because your capital is people. If you can eliminate your fear in talking to people, you have unlimited capital for your business. You have unlimited resources for your business. You have unlimited leverage for your business. So I looked at the industry after, 3.5 years of struggle in the industry. It took me 3.5 years to start making, good money, $16,000, $18,000 a month. And when I got into my next company, I was making that same type of money after my first 90 days. And I didn't take anybody with me from my first team. I started from scratch, but I was able to go through the numbers quicker because I realized it was just a matter of finding who was looking. I realized that you can't say the right thing to the wrong person, and you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. If somebody's looking and you have a vehicle, they're going to work with you, right? That's the reason that this team that you're on is growing right now. You have phenomenal leaders like Tippa and Sydney and Josh and Jay, and I mean, there are a lot of you, Brandon. I see all you guys on here, and it's just a true testament to hard work, right? The business will always grow if leaders are willing to push forward and propel forward, no matter how hard the struggle is. I've been reading this book about Mount Everest, and I read these books about struggle because I think all of us go through struggle. Even when things are really good, we go through struggle. And I think the quicker we can get through the mindset of what struggle is, the faster we can succeed. And in the book, it's talking about how in the 1920s, there's this guy named George Mallory, and he basically led Britain's first 3 expeditions to climb Mount Everest. The first 2 expeditions were unsuccessful, and during Mallory's 3rd expedition, an avalanche killed him and almost all of the people. So he was unsuccessful in the climb. So this is in the 1920s, the first people that were setting out to climb Mount Everest. But back in England, the surviving expedition members, which were very few, they participated in a big banquet, and they basically threw this like huge honorary party for those who died. And one of the survivors basically started speaking like vehemently, right? Like swearing and cursing the mountain, right? Addressing the mountain directly, basically issuing the challenge. I speak to you, Mount Everest, in the name of all brave men living, and yet those unborn. Mount Everest, you defeated us once, you defeated us twice, you defeated us 3 times, but Mount Everest, we shall someday defeat you because you can't grow any bigger and we can. This book is one of the most inspiring books I've ever read. Okay. And I'm telling you guys, a couple decades after this happened, right? First, this like New Zealander, Edmund Hillary, he's like a Tibetan Sherpa, right? And he led an expedition and he made it to the summit of Mount Everest. And in the years since then, more than 7,000 people have reached the mountaintop, which is evidence of people's ability to expand their personal capacities. Your life does not need to have limits. Okay. This is one of the things that I learned the hard way. Okay. I went through a lot of struggle. I went through a lot of challenge. I quit so many times because it was very difficult. How is a 16-year-old high school dropout going to succeed? You know, I remember when I would get really excited after going to conventions and I'd come home and I would talk to my parents about how I was going to be a millionaire someday. And I remember when my dad looked me in the eye one day and he said, you know what? He said, stop telling people you're going to be a millionaire. You're embarrassing yourself. Go get a job, right? But a job for me meant like what? Changing oil in a car, right? Washing dishes for minimum wage on the weekends. I don't really have too much to turn back to, which is, I think, one of the big compelling forces as to why I succeeded. I didn't have really a life to turn back to. So I always pushed myself as hard as I could. But just like anything you face in your life, the first thing I want to say is like mountains. Mountains are static, right? When a mountain is there and it's set, just like Mount Everest, the biggest mountain in the world, right? It can't grow anymore. But human beings are vibrant and they can grow, improve, and they can achieve their goals at any time they decide, right? People can climb the world's tallest mountain. They can dive into the deepest seas. They can hack their way into the most impenetrable jungles, right? You look at the people that go to Burning Man, right? Bone dry deserts, and they just conquer this, week of hot, dusty craziness, right? Because it pushes their limits. So if you focus on and expand your strengths and stop dwelling on your weaknesses, you will find success, right? I think every successful formula or every successful improvement follows formula, right? And it's really awareness plus ability plus choices equals your capacity. I'm going to say that again. Your awareness plus ability plus your choices equals your capacity. Your awareness can grow. Your ability can get better. The choices you make can become better. That means your capacity can grow as long as you grow. Okay. Awareness is the controlling factor. Okay. Awareness is your controlling factor. Become aware of your special abilities and nurture them with a sense of confidence that you can improve them and you can bring them to full fruition. The capacity challenge is to make the right choices on the way to achieve your goals. Okay. To make the right choices on the way to achieving your goals. I got a question. When was the last time you asked for others' advice and opinions? It seems like a lot of times we do that when we're uncertain of things. A lot of times you ask somebody for advice or opinions because of some type of limiting belief that you have on a certain situation or something that you're doing. Here's another question. When was the last time you got better because someone made you better? Okay. So I want you to look at all of the people that can give you advice and all of the people that can give you opinions. And every single time you seek advice or opinions from people, I want you to set a really firm barrier, like a gate in your mind that you absolutely do not allow anybody's advice to come into your mind or anybody's opinions come into your mind unless that person has somehow made you better. You should never take advice from people who aren't there to give value to your life and who aren't there to truly inspire you to become better. That is one of the big things that I learned the hard way. It took me years to figure that out, right? And then even becoming successful and becoming a millionaire, becoming a top 1% portfolio manager, making millions and millions of dollars. Then you have the people that all of a sudden will come into your life and try to take advantage of your kind heart, right? And then those mistakes happen. So all the stuff that I'm teaching you tonight are just based on my own life experience, okay? I believe truly that anybody can improve with sufficient will and determination. I believe anybody can. I don't think there's one person on this call that can't become a millionaire. I don't believe there's one person on this call that if you truly set your mind to it, couldn't become a billionaire, right? There's a lot of them out there and they've made it happen. There's a lot more billionaires than you think, right? Just because you only hear about a certain amount of them, there's a lot of billionaires out there, right? And these are people that have pursued relentlessly, have never settled, and have just pushed every single limit all the time, realizing that their limits are self-imposed. Anybody can become great. Anybody can make a difference. You just have to choose to. People also grow, and you can grow to reach your full potential, your full capabilities. The first step is really to discard any of the self-imposed limits, the ones that you've placed on yourself, right? That is, remove the caps from your capacity. If you want your capacity to grow, you have to remove the caps from your capacity, period, right? That means building your strengths, okay? Not dwelling on your weaknesses. Do you know that most pastors spend their time, or do you know how most pastors spend their time? If you would think that it would be, because this is what I would always think, right? I would think that it would be counseling, people, counseling marriages, maybe counseling people in the church, doing funerals, and that's not really exactly it, right? Most pastors actually spend their time equipping the church, equipping their deacons, right? Equipping, leading. That's what they do. They spend the majority of their time with their parishioners, right? Their practitioners, their deacons, right? Whatever type of church they're in, influencing the next pastor or the next youth group minister or the next leader in the church, right? You go to church sometimes, they'll have the next step program right here, or the connection card, and this is where you want to be more involved. The pastor actually spends the most time mentoring, right? Mentoring, pushing people's limits, equipping the church, equipping the body, right? So think about this. Counseling people is about helping them overcome their weakness, but equipping people is about helping them extend and fortify their strengths. Okay, you can equip people all day long, and that lifts the limits, right? Counseling people and literally like walking them through, different scenarios and struggles. It's kind of like a lighthouse versus a tugboat. I like to use this analogy a lot, right? You have these big lighthouses that shine really bright, these big lights, and they're basically telling the ship that there's something here. Don't crash into it. Like if you follow the light, right, and you see the light, it just shines really bright and stands firm and tall and keeps shining. What happens is a lot of people don't look at that light and they will crash into the rocks. And then the tugboat has to come and pull them out. and then they crash again, and the tugboat has to come pull them out again, right? That's like counseling. If you equip people with the right mindset, look to the light, right? Look to the light, and you won't have this problem. You're equipping them to become stronger and to open up their eyes to more potential, right? And if you look at achieving full potential, like full potential, I'm talking unleashing every single cap that you've ever had, unleashing yourself, undergoing significant change. It means accepting the fact that you need to change first, right? Building your abilities calls for change, which always means taking action. Everything you want to receive is uphill. The problem is that most of us have uphill dreams, but downhill habits. I want you to write this down. Everything that you want to receive, everything is uphill. The problem is that most of us have these big uphill dreams, but you have downhill habits. And if you understand that right there, I mean, that's a multi-million-dollar piece of advice, if you really can comprehend that. So the changes you must undergo to attain your full capacity will be challenging, right? It's going to take time. So plan on small and slow, but meaningful growth. And it has to be something that you do every day, because you have to create a habit. Accept this pace, right? Slow and small. Knowing that change isn't easy or quick, but positive change is absolutely 100% worth the effort. If you don't become aware that you need to change, or of your need to change, or of any existing opportunities for change, you'll never evolve. You'll never grow. Those limits will never be pushed. The essential process of change can be exhausting and it can be depleting, but it's required. And it really requires like expending mental, emotional, and physical energy, a lot of it. And in order to push your limits and build new ceilings, right? It's really going to require expending a lot of mental, emotional, and physical energy. But it is necessary despite the cost, okay? The secret of change is to focus all of your energy on fighting the old, or not fighting the old, sorry, but building the new, right? The secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. To forge ahead, you have to invest your energy and your time wisely. You got to understand that even minor changes can be meaningful, particularly if you observe which changes will have the most positive effect on your life. Even though positive change, right, it is vital, many people resist it. You guys notice that? Like, you know that you have to change. And you go to a seminar sometimes, or you'll read a good book and you're like, man, I really got to implement this into my life. And literally 2 days later, you completely forgot about it. You don't implement anything in your life. You don't do it. And you're just right back to where you started, right? Like, why do we do that, right? The biggest reason we do that is because we are scared. We fear the unknown. A lot of people have no idea how actually afraid of succeeding they are. People are afraid of success. And you might not understand that, but you will as you go down this journey. A lot of people are actually afraid of the success. And you might be thinking there right now, I'm not afraid of succeeding. Why would I be afraid of succeeding? Well, if you weren't afraid of succeeding, then you would do the work to succeed. Because the only thing that comes out of doing the work and putting in the change and putting in the required time, the only thing that comes out of it is success. So if you're not doing it every day, if you're not making those calls every day, if you're not studying every day, if you're not pushing your limits every day, then that means you're afraid of success, because that's the byproduct of hard work. That's the byproduct of action. That's the byproduct of making an extra call or picking up the phone and making a call at all. Whether it's a no or not, what are you afraid of somebody telling you no for? Who cares? What are they going to think about me? What are they going to think about you when you're freaking super successful? They're going to be like, man, I always knew you could do it. Listen, I always knew you could do it. Yeah, right. Where were you when I was on the struggle bus? Right? You were nowhere. You were the one throwing all the arrows at me, the darts at me. That guy's never going to make it. Oh, he's in his little juice scam business, right? He's pitching a juice Ponzi or a trading Ponzi, or we're in a pyramid scheme, right? But then all of a sudden you make it, and then it's, hey man, can I work for you? Hey man, do you got a job? Hey, can you teach me how to trade? Hey, can you help me? You got a spot for me? Can you blah 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 blah? You know what I mean? That's what happens. So you got to go, yeah, can I borrow money? Exactly. Can I borrow some money? Can I borrow some money? So I want you guys to think about this. If you set the goal of building your full capabilities, think about this story right here. Okay. Have you guys ever heard of like this Nick, what is his name? Like Vujovic or something, like Vujovic. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. But the guy, you know, he's only in his 30s. He's written 5 books. He's been on Oprah. He's been all over the internet. He's appeared in 2 movies. He starred in music videos. Basically, he's delivered inspirational speeches to hundreds of millions of people around the world. Not bad for a person who's born without arms and legs, right? This guy is amazing. I've seen him speak a couple times, right? This guy was bullied. He was tormented when he was a little boy. I mean, can you imagine being born with no legs and no arms? First of all, the struggle in that itself, the sadistic bullying that this guy went through, it hurt him so bad. When he became an adult, he decided to become a motivational speaker because he was so hurt. So he took all of the pain and he turned it into his message. And he basically would give speeches on the evils of bullying. That's how he started. He was rejected by the first 52 organizations that he approached for paid speaking engagements. For his first paid speech, he basically asked his brother to drive him to a school 2.5 hours away. Only 10 students showed up for his main speech, right? His big, here I am, I made it, right? Which only paid him $50, by the way. So then him and his brother drove another 2.5 hours back home. The speech was basically the beginning of something extremely special, right? It was the beginning for a want-to-be professional motivational speaker. And he felt like an absolute fool on the way home, and he was going to quit, right? But during the next week, his phone started to ring repeatedly. Schools everywhere wanted him to speak and inspire their students. Now he receives over 35,000 requests each year to speak to groups all over the world because he never gave up. He was born with severe, limited physical capabilities, yet he has inspired millions of people to live up to their full potential. A guy who literally was born with all of these limits that you and I don't have, that we could probably never even relate to, right? No arms and no legs. Think about it. Unless there's anybody on here that doesn't have legs and arms, right? And if there is, I'm sorry, right? I'm sorry, but I don't think there is, right? Like how many people are born with no legs and no arms? There's probably a handful of them out there. And this guy's inspired millions of people with all of those limiting self-imposed things, the limits on his capability and all his physical attributes. And he's inspired millions of people. People may have, or people have many kinds of capabilities and also many kinds of capacities. You need to target the ones that you can improve. I don't know what they are. You're right. You know what they are. I believe each individual has their own strengths and weaknesses in different areas. And I think that if you look at, let's just say, I think here's something I want to say, right? Nothing, I want you to write this down actually. Nothing limits achievement like small thinking, right? This is something that's very important. Nothing limits achievement like small thinking. But watch this. Nothing expands possibilities like unleashed imagination. Nothing limits achievement like small thinking. Nothing expands possibilities like unleashed imagination. You got to dream big. You have to have a big dream. You have to have vision. You have to be able to see through these caps that we've been programmed to believe apply to us. They don't apply to us. Everything that we've been taught, everything that I was taught, I'll speak for myself, was bullshit. It was bullshit. All of the things, right? You think out of the box. You got ADD. You got to be on Adderall. You got to be on Ritalin, blah, 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 all these things, right? Let me put a cap on your creativity. That's what I call it. And you're going to see this all over the world. You probably have grown up like it, or you know somebody who's done, right? My own parents told me to stop embarrassing myself. Stop telling people you're going to be a millionaire, Cory. You're embarrassing yourself. Now, both of my parents' houses, I bought both of them, paid for them. They're both retired because of me. I pay all of their bills all the time, every single month. And it's not even a thing to me. They're my parents. I take care of them. They took care of me. I take care of them. Even though they didn't believe in me, I don't care. They believe in me now. My dad was just over for dinner tonight. We grilled steaks and he brought lobster tails, right? So, I mean, it's like that's just life. You're going to go through these things. But I remember I was so pissed when my parents didn't believe in me because I thought of anybody who's doubting me, you'd think that your own parents would have your back. Doesn't happen sometimes, right? You'll have supportive parents or you won't. I got a few things that I want to leave you guys with, right? That are important. There's really some crucial areas that I wrote down that I want to talk about. That I believe these are areas of your life that offer you the greatest possibility of growing stronger and becoming the best you can be. And I have a bunch of them, but I'm just going to go through the ones that I think are the most important. The first one is energy capacity. Okay, energy capacity. If you exploit your physical ability and you build your strength, right, with targeted workouts and exercise, okay, make the most out of the thing you can do. In fact, it's better to manage your energy than to manage your time. Everyone gets the same amount of time, but when it comes to energy, you can increase your personal energy supply if you exercise, you know that. So if you want to have more energy capacity, get in shape and stop making excuses. Eat better and work out. Eat better and work out. That's it. We all know how to get in shape, but we don't do it. If you want to take the cap off your energy capacity, start eating good and work out 4 days a week, period. That's it. It's not hard to do. It's hard. It's hard to make those steps, but it's actually an easy thing that you can change right now. You don't need more money to do that. You can do that right now. You can work out in your house. There is no reason why you can't work out. At least get 30 minutes of exercising. Even if it's 15 minutes, right? Get a row machine, get a pedal bike, do something, right? The next one that you can absolutely work on right now, and you can lift the cap on it, is your emotional capacity. Work on becoming the master of your emotions. Your goal is to become emotionally strong and be able to cope with whatever you must face. By building emotional resilience, you better equip yourself to handle any problem, to handle any change, to handle any stress that might come into your life. If you take charge of your emotions and not let them rule you, you will increase your emotional capacity. So working out, eating better, strengthening and controlling your emotions, you're breaking two lids off two of the most crucial areas of your life. The next one is your thinking capacity. If you develop your ability to reason logically, okay, basically to increase your thinking capacity, I want you to look at it like this. Create a reliable system for organization and recording your ideas. So organizing your ideas and recording your ideas. Spend time with the most imaginative visionaries you know, like a Josh and Jay, right? These guys are big thinkers. They're going places. You know they're going places. That's why you're following their lead. Like a Tippa, right? One of the hardest working guys I've ever met in my life, right? Be around these guys as much as you can, because even when you doubt yourself, And even if you don't believe in yourself, guess what? I guarantee they believe in you. And that's how I was when I started. I didn't believe in myself, but the guy that I worked with believed in me so much, I didn't want to let him down. So I just borrowed the belief that he had for me until I got the belief myself. Okay. If you spend time with imaginative people, people that are visionaries, right? People that help you break through your walls and your mental blocks. If you spend time with these people and you maybe get away from average thinkers, right? Hang out with big thinkers. I want you to think of it like this, right? Compare average thinkers to great thinkers, like ice cubes to icebergs, right? Josh and Jay and Tippa, these guys, they're like icebergs. Average thinkers, they're like ice cubes. So you want to hang out with the icebergs, okay? Little cubes don't last long, but enormous icebergs endure, and they have hidden depths that you can't even see. Think about that. Think about that. So you want to hang out with people that push your limits and to push your thinking capacity. And that's how you break the cap off your thinking capacity, your people capacity. How well do you initiate and sustain relationships? People who excel at developing relationships focus on helping their friends and colleagues achieve their goals, right? That's leadership, but not on what others can do for them. People who excel, I'm going to say this again, at developing relationships, they focus on helping their friends and colleagues achieve their goals, not on what others can do for them. It's giving. Can I add value to you? How can I add value to you today? You guys are with Josh and Jay and Tippa and all the leaders on here because they add value to their life. They always pick up the phone when you need them. You need an onboarding call. You need them to talk to somebody. You need them to help you set up with a trading account. You got some questions. They always answer their phone. Always. They're always there for you. How much can I pour into you? How much can I serve you? Even if you're not an asset to my wallet, I'm still there for you every single day because I'm going to be a reason for you to succeed. If you don't believe in yourself and you don't push yourself and you don't do that, well, that's on you. But I'm going to show up to show you that I'm going to support you regardless, every step of the way. Just like I'm here serving you guys tonight. When Josh asked me to do the call, I said, of course, absolutely. I'd be honored to do the call. By the way, I'm going to be in Minneapolis on Thursday as well. So I'll see you guys at the Thursday meeting in Minneapolis because I love serving you guys. Do I get paid to come there and speak? No. No, I don't get paid to come there and speak. I get paid if the team grows, of course, right? But I want you guys to grow. That's why I come. Honestly, I don't even need the money that I make in the business. Right? I don't even need it, right? I do this because I really enjoy the relationships. I really enjoy it. And if I can help you guys get to where you want to go, and if I can just be that little small beacon of light shining bright like that lighthouse for you guys, and maybe so you don't crash into a wall, or when you do, also maybe be there to, lend a helping hand once in a while, to be able to be a mentor to Josh and Jay and Tippa and some of your leaders, and to pour into them and to pour into you when you guys hit the next level and you start mentoring with me, right? If I can do that for you, then whether you apply it or not to your life, I don't care. You're only hurting yourself if you don't. Every single thing I've taught you on the call tonight, the only thing or the only person you're doing a disservice to if you don't apply it is you, right? So your people capacity can grow. You can bust the caps off your people capacity by just focusing on serving others. And a lot of times people say, well, Cory, how do I serve others when I can barely support myself? Great question. Go try it once. Just go do it. Just go do it. Just go literally walk through your life every single day with the attitude of every single person I come into contact with, I want them to feel better about themselves than before they had an interaction with me today. The amount of joy, the amount of feel good, the amount of energy that you get from people when that exchange of energy happens, it's amazing. And that stuff, that shit right there, will push you so far in life. You have no idea. The last one I'm going to talk about tonight, and then we'll do some more maybe on Thursday or on the next call. The last one I want to talk about tonight is your creative capacity. I might talk about one more actually, but your creative capacity. When you muster your creativity, You heighten your ability to find viable solutions to challenging problems. When you have a great idea, I want you to share that spark with the right people. Ask them to evaluate your idea from their perspective, like Josh and Jay and Tippa and Sydney and a lot of the guys that you hang out with, right? A lot of these people that you work with right now. You got some great leaders with great perspective, right? If you heed their feedback, right, the result will be an expansion. Listen, if you heed their feedback and you trust them, their feedback, the result of their feedback will be an expansion of the original idea beyond your personal frame of reference. And that gives you a big boost to your creative capacity. If you master that, and I know that's hard to understand, but if you master that, you'll blow the lid off your creative capacity. Share your ideas. Share your strategies on growth. Share your building techniques, secrets that you found in the markets. Why do I show you guys everything that I know in the markets? Because I believe in success for everybody. I believe in abundance, and I think that there's plenty of wealth to go around. A lot of people won't share their sauce, or they'll try to charge you, $50,000 for the secret formula. I just try to show you everything every single day, right? The best I can do. The last one I'm going to talk about is your leadership capacity and also your production capacity. We'll kind of talk about these ones together. Your production capacity, I want you to think about it like this. Productive people are futurists, okay? Productive people are futurists who want to make tomorrow better than today. Write that down. Productive people are futurists who want to make tomorrow better than today. They're not historians, right, whose vantage point is the past, and they're not reporters who are focused on the present. They learn from the past, and they make the most of the present to leverage the future and open its possibilities. I'm going to say that again. Productive people are futurists who want to make tomorrow better than today. They're not historians whose focus is the past. They're not reporters who are focused on the present. They learn from the past. They make the most of the present to leverage the future and open its possibilities. You master that equation right there, you blow the lid off your production capacity and leadership capacity. Do you have an open mind? Great leaders ask questions to connect with others and expand their thinking. Do you have an open mind? I'm asking you guys to have an open mind tonight. I'm asking you guys to take all of the stuff that I'm teaching you and apply it to your life. Just try it. What's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? Think about it. I'm not teaching you anything that's going to harm you in any way. These are all things that are going to help you grow. They're going to push you. They're going to inspire you. They're going to motivate you. They're going to push your limits. Leadership capacity. Do you have an open mind? Great leaders ask questions to connect with others and expand their thinking. This contrasts with supposed leaders who talk constantly and burden others with repetitive pat answers, right? So supposed leaders talk too much. Real leaders, great leaders, ask questions to connect with others. Okay? They do that to expand their thinking. Okay? To expand their thinking. Instead of giving people directions, help them think about what they need and want to do so they can carve out the right path for themselves. If you master that, you'll blow the lid off your leadership capacity. And everybody you lead will blow the lid off of their capacity. On the next call I do, I'll talk about responsibility capacity. I'll talk about character capacity. I'll talk about abundance capacity. I'll talk about discipline capacity, intentional capacity, attitude capacity, risk capacity, spiritual capacity, partnership capacity, growth capacity. There's a lot of capacities that we could talk about. We're just scratching the surface on what can be achieved in your life, but you need to take serious action if you want change. Buddy, go. So in closing here, guys, it's been about an hour. I just want you to know I appreciate all of you. I believe in each and every one of you. I want you to know, for those of you that are new too, I was once new. I was the guy who used to sit in the back of the room with a baseball cap and, believe it or not, a wife beater and swim trunks and flip-flops. That's how I used to go to my network marketing meetings. Every Tuesday night, they would do meetings, and I was the guy that would come off the boat, wife beater. It was like the wife beater days, wife beater, baseball cap, sunglasses, I'd probably have on my shirt, or I'd be wearing them sometimes. Literally back row, flip flops, board shorts. Everybody's wearing suits and ties. And I realized, wow, all those successful people have notebooks. They're wearing suits. Maybe I should get one. So I bought suits from Goodwill. I had them tailored so they fit me nice. The most expensive suit that I had was from Walmart. I paid $85 for it. And I rotated 3 suits from Goodwill, $16 a piece, that I paid $40 each to have tailored. I got about 5 shirts from Walmart, different ties, zip ties, by the way. I upgraded from the clip-on. I had the ones that they have a zipper on them because I didn't know how to tie a tie. And I literally rotated those suits and those shirts and my zip-up ties. I had a car with 350,000 miles on it. All the paint was blemished from the sun, as a Lincoln Continental, right? Just an old car, 350,000 miles. I'd park the car blocks away from the meetings. I'd always make sure I was the last one to leave, so nobody saw me get in that car. And that's how I built my first 6-figure income. Rotating those suits, driving that car. And then the next car I bought was a Chevy Impala that had about 200,000 miles on it from my mentor, that had rust all over the bottom. I got that car for $1,100, and I drove that car until I made my first $500,000. And now I've had, 5 Lamborghinis, multiple McLarens. I got 2 BMW M8s sitting in my driveway, $150,000 TRX truck, everything that I've ever dreamed of having in my life. I've had the $1 million house, didn't really like it that much, too much to clean. So I got a nice, humble home that I like, right? We're getting ready to buy another house in Florida, in Jupiter right now. Guys, every single thing that I've ever dreamed of having in my life, I have. 2 beautiful children. My wife's been a stay-at-home mom since both of them were born. We homeschool with them. My son goes, handsome. 2 handsome children. But, we love life, right? We love life. Just got a brand new 2023 Veranda pontoon boat, the 425 horse motor on it, that I'm excited for you guys to come up and go out on with me this summer, right? We have a lot of fun. We bring leaders up for, 4th of July, and a lot of fun stuff in the summer, tubing and skiing and all that stuff. I don't say that stuff to brag or anything, but those were just the things that I wanted in my life. I grew up as the kid that didn't have a boat. I remember I got a pair of water skis for Christmas one year. The boat would never work. I was like the guy that my grandpa, my dad would go to the boat, and the boat would never start at the boat landing. We had to leave, and I was crying all the time. I would stand on the dock at 12 years old, holding my ski, asking strangers if they would just pull me around the lake because I just wanted a water ski. So I grew up having nothing, right? I had a snowmobile. I remember I got a snowmobile one time. It was like a 1974 Arctic Cat Jag, right? And now I get a brand new snowmobile every year, right? So it's just shifting perspective, right? It's the capacity to not have a capacity. Implement these things in your life, guys, and I promise you it'll be worth it, right? I can't do it for you. You got to do it by yourself. I can be here to encourage you and support you and to push you, but you got to put in the work. Appreciate you guys. Love you. Thank you for having me. See y'all in Minneapolis on Thursday, and I look forward to talking to you guys soon.
Hey, Cory. Hey, man.
Yeah.
I was wondering, do you
Yes.
mind just real quick, we take a couple minutes if I could ask you a couple questions?
Yeah, for sure, bro. Of course.
And I just figured, I think it'd be important for some of the people on the call. So, oops, I didn't mean to replace me. Let me go ahead and quickly add you in here. So, first of all, guys, can we drop some ones in the chat for what Cory just said? Man, that was like unbelievable amounts of value. That was years condensed into one call right there. It's crazy. That's why every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time, guys, we're on here sharing information to help you skip, time. It's almost like a time machine, learning from mentors, right? So Cory, man, I loved a lot of the stuff you talk about. I got a ton of value. I took 4 pages of notes on that call.
Nice.
Some of you are probably like, buddy, I'm at 8. But no, I love it, man. And something I thought was really cool was just, you said you didn't have a life to turn back to, and you just push yourself to the absolute limit. And I heard when I got started, man, like, don't have a plan B, make this plan A and burn the bridge and get it done no matter what. Right. But I just wanted to ask you a couple things. I mean, there's so much you talked about. First things first, a lot of people here on this call, some of them don't even know that, there is a compensation plan, right? Because they just saw a presentation without that. And obviously, you were talking about that. There's a whole affiliate, model with the company. But for those of the people who are on the call that are already working towards building their business, they're already putting in hours and effort, what would you say was would be a great first audio or book that they could listen to help them, go faster with their network marketing career, grow quicker, or enhance their, skills?
So there's a Jim Rohn CD. Actually, hold on, I might have one right here.
Guys, make sure to write these down. Okay. I'm writing them down too. Still got your Holton Bugs one.
I'll bring some of these, but I actually have like 5 or 6 of them. I'll bring them for you guys. For whoever has the most people at the thing. It's called Build Your Business. It's an audio CD by Jim Rohn. This is amazing. This is an amazing audio CD for learning about network marketing. Okay. There's a book that I would highly recommend every single one of you read. Get the audio book. It's called Your First Year in Network Marketing by Mark Yarnell. That is the absolute best book I've ever read on network marketing. And there's one more that I can recommend.
Did you say
it's
that
called
second one more time?
The second one is called Your First Year in Network Marketing by Mark Yarnell. And I would get the audiobook. It's very, very good. And then there's one more that I could leave you with. It's Dan Fela. It's called The 45-Second Presentation. Powerful book. Powerful.
Ooh, I know you mastered that book. You definitely mastered the 45-second presentation.
Oh, yeah. Very good.
Seen it a lot. Well, thank you guys. Hopefully you guys all wrote that down. If you didn't, we'll drop them in the chats, but I appreciate that one. Another thing would be, if for someone who's brand new, and you don't have to go into a whole, you could train for hours on this, right? But what would be like the first, few steps to someone that's like, all right, I want to go achieve a part-time to full-time income in network marketing? What would my first few steps be?
Well, I think the in network marketing on the building side, the pattern is really the same in every single company, and it's the same pattern from the 70s, right? It's a 5-step pattern. You make a list, right? You got to get a memory jogger, and you got to make a list of people that people that you're acquaintances with, people, your hairdresser, your insurance agent, your accountant, blah, 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 all these things, right? And you got to make a list. List is number one. Then you contact them, right? Then you show them the plan. Then you follow through, and then you rotate the pattern. Make a list, contact, show the plan, follow through, rotate the pattern. Or I like to use the running the bases. Base one, like if you're running the bases, like a baseball diamond, first base is invitation. You are inviting somebody to look at second base, the presentation. So invitation, presentation, third base, validation, third party validation, 3-way call, activation is home plate. Invitation, presentation, validation, activation, invitation, presentation, validation, activation. So what you do is you start running those bases, and then you get somebody started, and then you teach them how to run the bases. And then you get somebody else started and you teach them how to run the bases. And if you get a whole bunch of people running the bases, your business will fly. It will absolutely fly. That is the work, guys. This business is so easy. You got to talk to people. You got to make new friends, right? I remember when I literally called everybody on my list, and I told my mentor, I was like, you know what? I got to quit the business. I've talked to every single person I know. I don't know anybody else. He says, Cory, you didn't know your best friend before you met him. And he was absolutely right. Like literally go meet new people. It's kind of hard for me. I lived in a town with a population of 3,000 people. So what did I do? I drove down to Wausau, and I would contact people in Wausau. I'd literally go to the grocery store. I remember doing ESBI, like cash flow quadrant, on the hood of my car in winter in the snow. Like what does it take to be successful? You have to put in the work. You have to put in the work. You got to go for it. You got to go for it. You got to go for it. Very, very aggressively.
Awesome. Those are great steps, man. I love that. 45-second presentation right there. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. I appreciate that. Another question I wanted to ask was, what would be just, one piece of advice on how to, obviously you got to be consistent to win, right? There's this quote I've been saying lately, without commitment, you never start. Without consistency, you never finish. What is a good tip of advice for all the leaders on this call that are maybe struggling with consistency?
I would read the book Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. It's like, if you think about it like this, right? Imagine that every single day when you wake up in the morning, there's this like big, nasty, slimy bullfrog, and you have to eat it every day. Otherwise, you'll die. So would you look at it all day long and eat it at the end of the day? And you knew you had to eat this frog every single day. Or would you just wake up in the morning, grab that sucker, choke it down, and get on with your day, right? You got to look at your business like that. You got to look at getting started like that. You just got to eat that frog. You got to eat the frog and you got to go. You got to do the work. You got to run those bases. You got to make that phone call. Guys, there's nothing that can physically harm you or happen to you from taking the actions necessary in network marketing. You have to just get through the fear. Like, do you want it or not? That's it. Right? The fear is actually the fear of becoming successful because it's the only thing tangible that comes out of the action steps that I'm giving you. Is success. It's the only thing.
I'm definitely going to read that book. That's awesome. Well, hopefully you guys are getting some value. Last thing I want to ask, and then you can go on your way, man. I know you've been on here for a while and we really appreciate it a ton, dude.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, so this is a kind of a controversial question. Sometimes people don't have it, but if you could go back to the beginning of your network marketing career and just alter one thing about you and how you were doing, maybe the way you were acting, maybe speed or something, what would that one thing be for someone maybe that's brand new here that they could maybe alter
Easy.
right now?
Easy. I would believe much bigger, much faster. Period. I would believe much bigger, much faster. It was the years of why I wasn't successful at first. No money my first year at all. Barely any money my second year. It was until my third year I made money. And the reason was I didn't actually believe in myself. I didn't believe that I deserved the success. I didn't believe that it was possible. I let literally all the negative opinions of others influence me into believing that I actually wasn't going to make it. I would believe much bigger, much faster, and I would dream much bigger, much faster. And I believe that I could have absolutely condensed that time, because in every other company I've been with, the reason I've had the success so fast and been the top performer always is because I already know what to do. I mean, you just get in and do the work, right? The work sucks sometimes, right? Like it's like, man, shit, I got to be around the clock. I got to, not sleep for days sometimes, right? I'm going to put in that work. When I launched with my last huge run, when I put 16,000 people in a business, through me and the team, right? We had 3 7-figure earners and 70 6-figure earners in 9 months in that build. And it was during COVID, and I was making 100 phone calls a day. That was my first 90 days. I call it the loading phase. So my first 90 days of every single launch is I'm in massive action recruiting mode for the first 90 days. And if you haven't went on a recruiting spree yet, like if you haven't launched your business yet, then I don't even care if you've been in for 6 months. If you haven't launched it yet, launching a business means 90 days of aggressive, all out, massive recruiting. And you load the pipeline. Leaders will identify themselves, but they're going to identify themselves because they're going to look to you as the person of influence in their life, the leader that says you're building this business and you're going places. If they see you doing that work, they're going to be uncomfortable when they're not doing the work. So the first 90 days, all out massive action. The next 90 days is you're teaching everybody how to do what you just did. How did you just break all those records in 90 days? How did you just literally sponsor 200 people in 90 days? How did you do that? Well, let me show you. All out massive action. Now you have the multiplication phase. So you have your loading cycle, 90 days. You have your multiplication cycle, the next 90 days. And then you have your multiplication cycle. Loading phase, loading cycle. Then you have your duplication cycle, and then you have your multiplication cycle. 90 days, 90 days, 90 days. If you run those 3 cycles right, you'll actually be making multiple 6 figures by the end of 9 months. It's an absolute fact. I've never seen it not happen. But you have to do the first 90 days right. The first 90 days, if you really want to be successful in this industry, the first 90 days matter the most. It's the action that you put in the first 90 days that's going to carry you for the next 3 years. Really.
That's awesome, man. That was amazing advice. You go easy. I know exactly what to say here. Well, guys, if you gained some value from those questions, drop some sevens in the chat. Let's go. I appreciate you, Cory, so much, man. You don't have to stay on here, but I'm gonna just cover a couple things that you talked about, just for 5 minutes to everyone on here. I want to make sure to touch on it, but I appreciate you so much, man. Guys,
Appreciate you.
Minnesota, Thursday, 7 p.m. Guys, be there. Show up with people. Come shake hands with Cory, man. Like, surround yourself with people that are doing it at a high level. Thursday, 7 p.m. And then all the alpha traders in July are going to be in Orlando at the iGenius Impact event, guys. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. If you've never been to a company event, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, it is something to experience. Big events create big decisions. Cory's going to be there doing lots of trainings, guys. It's going to be unbelievable. Some of the top speakers in the entire world are going to be in Orlando, right? In arm's reach, literally, for all of us on here. So I'm super fired up. One thing I want to mention, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop the US event. This is the first ever US regional event that's going to happen coming up here in July. Okay, it's going to be absolutely insane. I'm super excited for it. I'm going to drop the link for that. But one thing I wanted to mention, ladies and gentlemen, is Cory talked about, don't focus on your weaknesses, focus on your strengths, right? So when I was 18 years old, I got handed this website right here. I got handed this website right here. And this is called the Gallup Strength Test. Okay. Or the Clifton Strengths, right? This is what tells you what your top 5 strengths are. Ladies and gentlemen, I've known what mine are for 6 years. 6 years. I know them like the back of my hand, right? My first one is woo, right? It's my ability to break the ice with people, right? Then it's positivity, then it's leadership, then it's communication, then it's includer. I know it like the back of my hand. Jay, my business partner, he knows all of them like the back of his hand. I'm an includer. He's a competitive, right? So you can see the difference in us, but I encourage you to take this. I'm going to drop it in the Wi-Fi Money Leadership chat. I encourage you to take this, guys. It'll be one of the best $25 you've ever spent in your entire life. You'll know what your strengths are. This is so accurate. Colleges and universities and businesses all over the entire world give you this right here. All over the entire world, people take this quiz right here. Okay, so I'll drop all this information in the chat, guys. But one thing, I mentioned to him, and I'm gonna go ahead and just quickly unpin his video because he definitely was on here for a good amount of time. But one thing he talked about, ladies and gentlemen, was he didn't have a life to turn back to. Maybe some of you do, and that's okay, right? When I decided to go full time in this business, right? Like dive all into trading, dive all into building my business and getting a full-time income. I just heard over and over from the successful people, you got to burn the bridge, like make it so there's no plan B. Make this plan A, and that's the only plan you got, right? Because guess what? In reality, guys, down the road, if you ever have to figure out something else, you can. Okay, there's tons of opportunities all over the world. There's 2 million jobs that aren't taken right now in the United States. There's a lot of things you can do, right? Make this plan A and the only plan. Burn the bridge. You cross the bridge over into this, this business, this industry. Burn the bridge. There's no going back. Let's do it, right? So that was one thing I thought was beautiful, right? Not having a plan B. I also thought, don't allow, advice or opinions from people who don't have the lifestyle that you want. Not just that, but don't allow advice or opinions from people who aren't even going to help you anyways. Guys, when your head hits the pillow at the end of the night, it's you against the world, right? Maybe it's you and your significant other. Maybe it's just you. It's you against the world, right? So even if people have opinions, are they going to help you anyways? Do they have something for you to do? Are they going to help you make money? Are they going to pay your bills? No. So I just thought that was really powerful, right? Don't listen to them if they don't have what you want, especially if they're not even going to help you accomplish your goals. So I thought that was really huge. I love the lighthouse and the tugboat scenario. For those of you that are actively building the business every day, like being the tugboat to pull, the boats that crash into the rocks out of the rocks, right? And that's, doing one-on-one calls with your leaders. That's talking to them. That's helping them get through the mental barriers that they're having. I thought that was so, so powerful. And this was a great one, right? Most people have uphill dreams, but have downhill habits. Right? It's almost like you're running circles then. You're literally running circles. You never end up getting anywhere inside the business unless you get rid of the bad habits that you have. Most people think bad habits are like drugs and alcohol and stuff like that. But listen, bad habits could be sleeping in too long. Bad habits could be watching too much Netflix. Bad habits could be sitting on the charts for too long, right? There's a lot of different types of bad habits that you can have. But if you have uphill dreams, you got to get rid of the bad habits. And the last thing I'll kind of end on here, ladies and gentlemen, this was a phenomenal call, guys. Did you guys gain some value on this? Let's go. I want you to type the word value in the chat. If you gained some value in this call, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to type the word value in the chat. Guys, I met this individual, Cory, at a Top Golf. Within 30 minutes, I knew I was going to work with him. 30 minutes. It was insane. But the last thing I'll just say that he said was positive change is always worth the effort. It's always worth the effort. No matter how big or how small, positive change is always worth the effort, right? Getting 1% better every single day. So I'm fired up, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, listen, if you need anything, reach out to me. But this is the time to lock in. This is the time to write your goals down, have a big vision, dream bigger, dream faster. Let's go do it big this year, guys. This is 2024. It's April 9th right now. We're in the second quarter of this year already. New Year's just happened. Time's cooking. We gotta go, baby. We gotta go. But I'm super grateful for everyone who hopped on this call. Listen, if you had someone who wasn't on this call, share the recording with them so they can get this call, have them take notes. I'm going to drop the books that he talked about, the audios he talked about. I'm going to drop the top 5 strengths, and I'm also going to drop the Minnesota event and the iGenius event coming up here in July 2024. Okay. I love you guys. I appreciate you. And thank you for hopping on. Let's go crush it. Peace.